It's The List and your boy with Jimmy Van and Sean Ross Sapp.
With Jimmy and Sean, sell pills for your dong. Make a fantastic song. Make a fantastic song.
And we're live.
Here we are. Listen, your boy number 188. Let me ask you, Jimmy. Did Brady get drafted to like Fightful Denmark or something? He's long gone. We got to keep Camilo in the draft. That's good. Melissa's long gone. Fortunately,
No,
Melissa
fortunately,
got drafted to some weird beach somewhere based on her Instagram.
actually, I was able to just draft Fightful as a collective unit, and I thought to myself, maybe it would make sense if I draft Fightful, but then for no reason whatsoever, I don't draft one of the people of Fightful. You know what I mean? Maybe I should draft all of Fightful except for one person. And then I decided, but that's just dumb. Why would you do that? That's an asset. So I just drafted all of Fightful together, Sean.
Well, really, it doesn't make any sense for you to draft Fightful as a collective entity. Why would you draft the group that has been trying to ruin your life every single week?
Right.
Jimmy? Who would do that?
There's so much we could talk about, Sean. And we are.
Wreaking havoc on your finances since 2016, and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to do it to shut them up.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Do you think that Vince McMahon watches any of the digital shows like Talking Smack or what do they call the one after Raw? What's it called?
Raw Talk.
Raw
No,
Talk.
he doesn't, because when he finally did watch Talking Smack, he decided he hated it, and they canceled it.
Okay, so he doesn't watch any of that stuff at all.
No.
Okay. Because like guys like Xavier Woods and Big E especially, they've been pretty public about the lack of logic in WWE, but they tend to do it like on one of those shows.
Yes. I don't think he watches it.
Okay.
I don't think he pays attention to it, but I know that people are watching us right now. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe. If you're watching live, leave a chat. If you're watching after the fact, leave a comment. That stuff really helps. We are going to start engaging with you guys a lot more in the comments section. But if you want to support us, leave a super chat. That stuff is very important to the growth of Fightful, and to get your question or statement read on the air. Just before we went on the air, I filmed an hour-long Q&A that's going to drop on Fightful Select on Thursday. Over 150 questions answered.
Wow.
That's just one of many perks that you get over at FightfulSelect.com, and we're working hard on even more stuff. But Jimmy, it was the draft this week.
Do you answer literally every question that you're sent?
Every single question. What I used to do was I would say, as many questions as you want, I'll answer. And we were getting some 2-3 hour Q&As, and I was like, all right, let's leave this to an hour long. So now it's each subscriber gets 3 questions, and I asked them to leave off, like, don't say, what are your top 5 pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Like, that's pointless. Don't ask me what my favorites are. That's pointless. And no, are you a fan of questions? Because people tune into those to get news. They want to find out news stuff. And eventually down the line, I'll do one about my favorite. Like if I'm going on a vacation or something and I want to put a Q&A in the can, I'll do something like that. But those are very newsworthy shows now. So I really enjoy doing them. And we always get like at least 45 minutes to an hour out of them.
What percentage of Fightful subscribers do you think ask questions if you had to ballpark it?
Less than 10%. Because,
Less than 10%. Okay.
Oh my God, it might be like 5% because we've got 800 and some, and the comments, it'll be like 63, 70 comments, and they'll put 3 questions each, but some of them put a question in each different comment. So I would say like 40 to 50 sometimes. So there's a lot of them that don't, but then I figure out how many people are watching it, and it's one of the more popular shows. So
That's good, because I was going to say, when we eventually get to like 30,000 subscribers, eventually, that means that you could be doing a 7-hour Q&A if if a percentage of them are doing 3 questions each.
If we got 30,000 subscribers, I'll do a 7-hour Q&A because it's gonna be me. It's gonna mean I'm getting paid a whole lot more. So that's what we go for. Scott Young says, "Hi Sean, messaged you last week about writing for you. Just wanted to check if you got my email. You're a tremendous young man. Thank you for the content. I did. I will get back to you. It's been a busy week with the draft." Evan Wright says, "With it being the anniversary of AEW, what are your favorite moments so far? Moxley debut is up there. Hangman hitting the one-winged angel Jericho sing-alongs.
Yeah.
Jericho sing-alongs are unreal in person, but
Absolutely.
I was there for Moxley's debut.
Yep.
And I was there for Young Bucks versus Omega and Page. Those are my two favorites. Another personal favorite is Moxley and Omega through the glass table on the first Dynamite. That was such a cool spot.
But it was illogical as a part of that tag team match. There was no DQ.
Nah, I didn't care.
Oh, I did. I need logic, which is why we're going to shit on the draft in a minute. Because I didn't like that because of the lack of logic. For me, Chris Jericho's title run, he was awesome. He was awesome, and I've been critical of him with the Sturgis stuff, and I find he's starting to get a little too he's starting to act like a boss a little bit with the Q&As he does on YouTube, and I don't like that. But his title run, he did so much for AEW, Sean. Yeah. Can you imagine AEW in their first year without Chris Jericho?
Oh my gosh,
he did so much for them.
He was very important.
He was.
I questioned them making him the champion at first. It was the right decision.
Oh, it was absolutely the right decision, and
it was right for AEW. It was right for Jericho.
Yes,
and it was right for Page too. It was right for Hangman Page.
It was good for everybody. Yeah,
he's huge. An underrated moment: Brody Lee smashing Cody. I looked at that and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
I agree. Yep, I agree. And I got another one for you: Sammy Guevara singing Chris Jericho's entrance music.
Yes,
I love it. I love it when he does it, especially because he doesn't know the words and Jericho finds it hilarious.
Yeah. You know? Jobber sends a super chat and says, "I'm no lawyer or judge, but who's going to give Joey Ryan any money?" I don't think he's going to get a dime.
No.
I don't think he's going to get a
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about Joey Ryan later. The next thing I want to ask you about is live events are starting to come back. And some of them have been televised, like on Fight or whatever. So, like Janela's Spring Break 4 just happened. Bloodsport just happened. I haven't seen any footage. Have you seen any footage from those shows? And how did they handle the fans? How did that all work?
I watched those shows as a part of the collective. Cheap plug, guys. We do the Weekender on Fightful Select every week. Steven Jensen reviews a lot of the non-WWE AEW stuff. I made this week's a free preview edition. 2 hours. He covers all of the collective. So if you're looking for a collective review, go check it out. Free preview. It was, great wrestling on those shows. A lot of people getting paid. And there was actually, I think it was a disease specialist that complimented people at the collective this weekend. Really? And gave them some advice and said, okay, now that you've done this, don't stay in until Thursday, Friday, get tested because of the incubation period as a result. I mean, you're going to have situations where people in close quarters and people that brawl outside the ring violate. So it's not a catch-all. But standard, what I heard and what I saw, the majority of people were wearing their masks and they were spaced out, distanced, all that. They did about as well as they could in that situation. Very happy to see that.
How many people in the venues?
I wouldn't know that. I'll ask Brett Lauderdale, though, and see if he could give me an answer on that.
Okay, but they were all spaced out, like one every few seats kind of thing, every other row, that kind of thing?
Well, a group every few seats, like whoever you came with or something like that.
Okay, interesting. I mean, they're trying what they can, so good for them. All right, let's get into the draft here. So I'm not going to go, round by round. Here's who Raw picked. Here's who SmackDown picked. Sean did a post-Raw show. We did a post-SmackDown show. Everything is there for that. And I think everybody kind of has an idea. So we're not going to talk about that. What I want to talk about is the logic from the WWE Draft. And Sean, how many times on this podcast have we talked about we just want wrestling to make sense? That's it. We just want it to make sense. I don't want my intelligence to be insulted. I want my wife to be able to watch with me and not chuckle because something's so stupid. That's what I wanted of pro wrestling. I want it to make sense. This was the worst draft they've ever done in WWE in terms of logic. It was the worst they've ever done, and it's probably only going to be trumped by 2021, which will probably somehow be worse. But logically, it was awful. It was a train wreck when it came to logic. And so let's get into it. The first thing I want to do, when they posted the rules, Sean, I spotted a problem right out of the chute when they posted the rules.
Okay.
And this was from WWE.com. This is Media One, Camelo. Put this up. So they posted this prior to SmackDown last Friday when they did the first night. There's the different rules. If you look at the fourth one, Tag teams will count as one pick unless Fox or USA Network, in conjunction with WWE officials, wants to pick one superstar from the team. I saw that, and I try to liken the draft to the best of our abilities here to a sports draft.
Yes.
And obviously it's not, but that's what they're going for. So I try to compare it to a sports draft. In a sports draft, your players are your asset. And so because there's no salary cap, talked about with the WWE draft, which even that would help if they at least implemented a salary cap. Raw can only spend X amount, SmackDown can only spend X amount. Then maybe it would make a little bit more sense. Because there's no salary cap, why would you choose one member of a tag team instead of the whole tag team?
Jimmy, I got some of the most mind-numbing, dumbass responses to this.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Let me tell you, especially on Facebook.
Give me some examples.
Oh, God. Maybe Raw just wanted New Day. Maybe they only wanted them. And I'm like, why wouldn't they want Big E? And if they didn't want him, trade him.
Right. And and again,
I had people that said, "Oh, you can't trade draft picks," and I was like, Apollo Crews came over to Raw months ago as a draft pick who was about to expire, which didn't make any sense. You can't sit there and tell me, "Oh, they can't trade for draft picks." It's a made-up fucking show.
Yeah, and draft picks aren't supposed to expire either.
They make up whatever rules they want. If they want to be able to trade for draft picks, they can.
Right.
If you know what they could have said? That SmackDown gets the signing rights to the first few free agents or something like that, or they get a couple of supplemental picks at the end, and that would make sense why SmackDown picked up 3 people after Monday. There were people that said, "Oh, well, they clearly want to push Big E as a singles." No shit, Sherlock. Thanks, Gil Grissom, for sniffing that one out. Now the case is solved. That's clearly what we were worried about. No, not the fact that it just doesn't make sense. And then there were people that said, "Oh, well, if they did it and then immediately trade him, you complain about that too." No, dork.
Just got to make sense of it. You know what I mean? You just got to make sense of it. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. If you can have 3 assets instead of 2 assets, take the third asset.
So what I want them to do is Friday, after they do the Big E farewell, I want Adam Pearce, like maybe they're all backstage, all 3 of them, and they're all standing there. And Kofi and Big E said, "We'll see you later, buddy." And then Adam Pearce walks up and says, "Do you feel good about your decision?"
Right.
He's like, because they said that at the beginning. They said, "We take superstars' wishes into consideration."
Right.
Adam Pearce walks up and says, "How do you feel about asking to be drafted on your own?" Something like that. Or Big E walks off, and then he says that to Kofi and Xavier. Because if you remember, Kofi was the one specifically that said, "Buddy, you need to try this on your own.
Right.
You did it for me. Let me do it for you." Xavier seemed shocked. So if it was Kofi doing it, oh, man, I think that'd be good. I think it'd be real good. Because then Xavier can be like, "Man, why didn't you tell me?" Like anything like that. Cause some conflict, even if it'll be resolved. Make it make sense. Bless the Miz on Monday. Bless that man. He walked out and he said, "Oh, gee, Otis and Tucker ended up on separate brands. I wonder who had the pull to make that happen. Probably the same guy who had the pull to get Mandy traded to Raw." Good for him. I'm so happy he did that. So happy he did that.
Did you see Kofi? And when it comes to the New Day, I find, this is just my opinion, I find Kofi's the worst of the 3 when it comes to improvising. I find Xavier and Big E are just quicker with the improvising than Kofi. When they swap belts with Street Profits, I remember I was mentioning that last week. I said Street Profits should go to SmackDown. And he said, "Well, they can't because of the Raw Tag Team Champions." Well, they found a way to do it. But when they swapped the belts, Kofi looked at Dawkins and he said, "Tell Big E we miss him." And he obviously, it was an improvised line. And I watched that and I thought, but that's stupid. He's still your friend. What, did you just cut ties with him all of a sudden?
Yeah.
You're in the same venue.
Same venue, same town.
Same everything.
And I mean,
they had both. I think both rosters were there that night.
and Friday.
And he said, "Tell Big E we missed him." And I just thought to myself, Kofi, improvising's not your strength, bud.
If I was
not.
Angelo, I'd say, "Tell him yourself. You're going to see him Friday. You're booking a match."
That's what he should have said. That's what he should have. Montez Ford might have said that.
And then the logic of after that. So on that same graphic that you showed, WWE said, anybody not drafted is a free agent. And I get them doing the smack talk, talking smack, raw talk, whatever thing. But then after that, Gable, Lindsay, Metalik, Mickie James, all free agents. They announced Monday before the show, Gable's been drafted to SmackDown. What?
Right.
Okay, did you announce another round? If so, where's the rest?
Right.
I don't get it. I do not get it. Just say they signed. That's all you have to do is say SmackDown and Raw signed some free agents.
You know what?
Tough.
I would actually be okay with it if Triple H did a little video, like a WWE.com exclusive, and joked and said, Vince is 75, he forgets sometimes. I would actually be okay with that if they did that, because it's obvious these things are happening because Vince there's no pre-planning. They just kind of wing the day as they go. And so like Monday came and they're like, oh, we didn't put Gable anywhere. Okay, SmackDown drafted him. You know what I mean?
Evan Wright says, oh, Sean, but if it was AEW, you'd love it, which is the sarcasm there.
Yeah.
I would hate it. Michelle Haskin says, in your opinion, should WWE merge the tag team divisions? I think they should because there are only 2 to 3 viable tag teams.
Yes.
No, I don't think they should. I did an article for Wrestle Talk magazine about this. I don't. I think they should book it better.
Yes.
Don't be lazy.
Yes.
Because everybody says, oh, there's only 3 viable tag teams. Well, is that true? Because on Raw right now, you've got 2 combinations of the Hurt Business right there. Miz and Morrison, Lucha House Party, New Day, Retribution. And you might have a second combination of Retribution there. Over on SmackDown, it is a little bit more rare.
Makeshift teams.
You've got Rude and Ziggler, Street Profits, Nakamura and Cesaro. But you also have the Mysterios who were drafted together. They will be a team as well.
It's pretty damn weak.
I would love to see Apollo Crews and Chad Gable do like the New American Alpha or something like that. Or Chad Gable and really anybody team up if they're not going to use him. But
you know
SmackDown
something?
is bare.
Chad Gable would be TNT champion if he was in AEW.
Yeah, he would.
He is really good. He's really good. I mean, to see him take a guy like Sheamus, who's way bigger than he is physically, and to take him and do the German suplex with the bridge, and when he does the thing where he rolls through and he powers you up, he does that with a guy the size of Sheamus. He's really good, man. And Vince McMahon, because he's 5'6", will never get past it. And that's why he was an afterthought until Monday when somebody figured out, oh crap, we didn't do anything with him yet, in terms of the draft. Then the next thing I want to talk about in terms of lack of logic, and I should also mention when it comes to the tag team thing, Lucha House Party was another one. SmackDown took Kalisto. They didn't take the other 2. Makes 0 sense.
Well, they did their best to make sense of that.
What'd they say?
They had a video of Lucha House Party discussing this, and Kalisto said that he spoke with Fox. And he's like, oh, they were asking about me. They didn't ask about you guys a lot, though. And they were like, why didn't you go to bat for us type of thing? And it was very much implied that Kalisto told them that he wanted to get drafted by himself.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Evan Wright says, Chad Gable is best of Super Juniors would rule. Oh, God, he'd be incredible.
He'd basically be good in any spot where he's given a chance to showcase his ability. He'd be good in any spot.
How about Bloodsport? Him and Bloodsport would be awesome. Evan Wright says Bloodsport ruled. Dickinson versus Mox delivered. A lot of people don't realize Moxley has MMA experience in that regard. He trained for a movie that he was doing. Mm-hmm. But guys, send a super chat. That stuff really helps us. Leave a thumbs up. Speaking of transactions, we have one from Evan Wright. He says, I know it's Hugo Savinovich, but this news of Dragon Lee possibly going to WWE breaks my heart. I really feel like it's a bad idea seeing Lucha House Party. Yeah, if I were him, I would probably look at those guys and say, maybe not, unless
paycheck is right.
Unless the paycheck is right. His deal is up, I think, in December, according to our contract updates. But again, it's Hugo Savinovich. Take it with a grain of salt. He is a running joke on YouTube, or not YouTube, but Facebook among veteran wrestlers.
Yeah, I remember he had all the Saudi news, remember? I think it might have been from that flight.
He claimed he did.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about in terms of the lack of logic has to do with the draft order. Now, I'm not a big, fan of basketball and baseball, so I got to put it in terms of hockey, and I'll try to put it in terms that like casual fans will understand. Connor McDavid, best player in the world, picked number 1 overall by the Edmonton Oilers 5 years ago. Imagine if Connor McDavid went in the 3rd round. When he was the best player in the universe, just for no reason whatsoever. When you look at the draft order, Naomi was drafted in the 2nd round on Friday. She was drafted before the Women's Tag Team Champions. She was drafted before the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. She was drafted before Jey Uso, who's challenging for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell. Naomi's not been on television, and she was drafted in the 2nd round.
She is injured.
I don't care. She was still drafted in the 2nd round. Then you look at Monday, when they did the second day of the draft. The Intercontinental Champion was picked in the 4th round on Monday. The Intercontinental Champion. He was picked after Alexa Bliss. Lacey Evans was drafted before Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. She was drafted before Sheamus. She was drafted before Ziggler and Roode, who got a title shot on Monday. Titus O'Neil was drafted ahead of Aleister Black.
Or as I called him when I accidentally typed a typo, Tits O'Neil.
Did you?
During our mock draft, I left out a U. And it said, Tits O'Neil.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's. I disagree with you completely on Titus O'Neil. It was very important, Jimmy.
Yeah.
That Raw get Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what are they going to possibly do when they say, "Oh, we need somebody to lose," or we need somebody, to lose to Lashley in 57 seconds in a DQ? What are we going to do?
You know what? He would
have a last chance gauntlet match with 8-9 people in it, and then by the way, he hasn't wrestled at all on Raw besides those 2 times since he was drafted last time.
And otherwise, he would have gone undrafted, and they could have signed him as a free agent on Friday.
Yeah,
or drafted him on Friday, because apparently you could do that too.
He's done a couple of Raw Underground things like Whoop-de-Doo. He did 3 main event matches in July and August.
Yeah.
He has not had an honest-to-God Raw match since April, and before that, it was November. He's had 2 actual Raw matches and then a Raw Underground appearance since the last time he was drafted. In the last year.
Right.
He's wrestled 10 matches.
Meanwhile, Aleister Black's been featured every week on Raw, but Titus O'Neil went first. Andrade!
WrestleMania season, him and his buddies were the show.
Yes, they were.
They were the entire show.
Yes, they were. Now, do you think Andrade's headed back to NXT? Do you think maybe that's why he went? Yeah?
I hope. Gable should have went.
Gable would be great.
Honestly, Gable, Lindsay, Metalik, Mickey, Andrade, all should have went.
I agree.
All should have went. That would have helped out NXT's tag division, their women's division, and immediately given them 2 mid or top stars. You want to tell me that Damian Priest versus Chad Gable wouldn't absolutely hump
Ciampa?
It would.
Ciampa Gable, Gargano Gable. There's so much they could do. And the thing is when you look at NXT right now, Finn Balor's hurt, Kyle O'Reilly's hurt, Ridge Holland's hurt, Karrion Kross is hurt. Those are top-level guys, all hurt. Sorry?
Tegan Knox is hurt,
Tegan Knox. Yeah, and I think Dakota Kai too, right?
No, she's good.
Oh, she's good. But those 4 guys, those are 4 top-level guys all injured at the same time. So you're telling me, like you just said, they couldn't use Andrade, Chad Gable. Absolutely they could use those guys right now. Kevin Owens did an interview. He said he was supposed to return last year. Kevin Owens would be phenomenal in that spot. He's kind of treading water on the main roster right now for no fault of his own, Yeah. So, oh, boy. And then another thing about the draft is in terms of storyline. So we've already talked about the lack of logic. They split up teams for no reason. They would pick one guy, not the others, for no reason. The draft orders were completely ridiculous. They kept Rollins, Murphy, and the Mysterios all together on the SmackDown brand. That means that garbage is going to continue on. Like you said at the opening of the show, Raw drafted Retribution.
Yeah.
Why, for the holy hell of mother of God, would you do that? Why would you draft them?
The thing is, Vince McMahon is the showrunner. They badly need a showrunner, like an honest-to-God showrunner. Somebody that would just say, hey, guys, why don't we just not draft them?
Right.
And then immediately at the end of the show, somebody or Stephanie comes out and announces it with a confused look on her face. Raw has signed Retribution as free agents. And then you wonder who's pulling the strings,
right?
Who's helping them, who's making that work. And then you wonder, as opposed to poor T-Bar having to go on Twitter and say nonsensical shit to make sense of the more nonsensical stuff. Oh my God. Aaron Entertainment says the Elias return was stupid too.
Yes.
I didn't mind it as much. You didn't like it?
He's still blaming Jeff Hardy for the car crash.
Yeah,
when did Sheamus not basically reveal himself to be the mastermind?
No.
Are you sure?
He denied it. He denied it.
He never revealed himself to be the mastermind on SmackDown.
No, he denied it. And quite frankly, Jimmy, I don't know how often you use Facebook and see how stupid a lot of Americans are on Facebook. There are people who are confronted with video and audio evidence of things who say, fake news. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Maybe Elias is one of those dumbasses.
I mean, that's always fair. I will say I missed Elias. I'll also say Elias is a better heel than a babyface, so that part's all cool. He's got that. He still has that superstar presence about him, even though he's not the best in the ring. So I was happy to see him back. But I don't know, going back to Retribution for a second, and how many times have we talked about all they need to do is one segment, spend like 50 seconds, and they could explain something away. All you got to do is have Ali out there basically, you know, bringing back the hacker footage to show that he was the hacker and suggest that you have footage of the McMahons that you will release. You know what I mean?
And like that's that idea too.
That's why they drafted him, and that's why they're allowed to do silly shit. And then those of us like you and me that want sense, at least we were like, okay, fine, that kind of makes sense. He's got dirt on Vince McMahon. All right.
Yeah, anybody that messages me and says, "Oh, you're asking too much," or "Oh, just enjoy it," you can piss off. You can go to hell. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be okay with this show not making sense just because I like wrestling."
Yeah.
No, I'm going to like wrestling and hope that it will rise to the point to where they look at things and say, does this make sense?
Right.
And that helps. I'm going to beat that drum every single week. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like you all after the fact coming up with theories to make it make sense. I mean the people who create the shows make it make sense.
Yep.
Andrew Monaghan says, would Abyss works as Fox's version of Cyrus? I don't think Fox wants to portray that they look down on wrestling or anything like that. So I don't think that would work.
To be honest with you, I loved him with AJ Styles.
Oh, God, he was amazing.
Maybe they could keep him with AJ Styles somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's very funny.
He is.
Wild Boy says, will you explain Bloodsport? I've never seen it. Yeah, it is no ropes on a mat, a wrestling ring without ropes
Kumite.
or anything like that. Yeah, basically that. But KO and submission rules, no pinfalls.
Right. Yeah, it's good. It reminded me when I first saw footage of it. It reminded me of the Kumite from Bloodsport, the movie, which is obviously the inspiration behind it. So, now the other thing I want to talk about post draft, I question how long before talent's going to be appearing on both brands again, and I was questioning this on Twitter because people pointed out to me. They said, "Well, Braun Strowman is still going to face Roman Reigns on SmackDown this week." And that's post-draft. Jeff Hardy's going to still face Lars Sullivan on SmackDown this week, and that's post-draft. The New Day is still facing Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura this week, and that's post-draft. How long do you think that this is going to happen? Because Survivor Series is coming up, and you know we all go nuts because the guy just got drafted to SmackDown, say, a month earlier, and now he's wearing a blue shirt and he hates his former brand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's going to happen. But how long do you think Vince McMahon will let it go, considering that they're all in the same venue and they're all basically in the same locker room and in the same city? How long do you think he's going to let it go, knowing that he rewrites shit the day of, before he's looking at a script and he goes, we need something better. Screw it. Braun Strowman, yeah, this is SmackDown, but Braun Strowman's in the main event.
I think it's Monday. They're doing the season premiere on Monday, so I think that'll be it.
You think that'll be it?
Yeah, I think this week is like a wrap up everything week, and there are no interpromotional matches thus far scheduled for Hell in a Cell, which is in a couple weeks. So I think this Friday is just kind of like wrap it up type of thing.
Okay, I hope so because it was so anticlimactic. I mean, Braun Strowman gets drafted right. He'd been there for 3 weeks.
We knew it. They couldn't hold off.
No,
they couldn't hold their load for 3 weeks with Drew Gulak.
Right.
And I love Drew Gulak, but they don't love Drew Gulak. So they couldn't hold it for that long.
Right.
They couldn't hold it for a month with Mandy Rose, Drew Gulak, and Braun Strowman.
And Dana Brooke, too.
Dana Brooke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the tag team division. They released AOP. They split Heavy Machinery. They even split Humberto Dominic, who got a #1 contender match, even though they only had one match.
Andrade and Angel Garza.
And Andrade and Garza before. All they really have, with the exception of a few real teams, as you mentioned, just a bunch of makeshift teams that still use their singles wrestler entrance music.
Yeah. Split up Ricochet and Cedric. Eric and Ivar, obviously.
For now,
can't
anyway.
Help that,
Yeah. It's a shame. And then when you look at the top of the card, for both brands, really, but I'm going to focus on Raw because Raw is still considered kind of the premier show. When you look at the top of the card for Raw, Randy Orton stayed on Raw. Keith Lee stayed on Raw, and he's been booked like shit since they called him up. Braun Strowman, as we all knew, went there because he had already been there. Drew McIntyre is probably going to hold on to the title. He's going to need heel challengers. Assuming that they're finally done with Randy Orton after Hell in a Cell, you got Braun Strowman is probably going to get a program. The Fiend is probably going to get a program. I think everybody's already kind of sick of them in a title picture from SmackDown, but they're probably going to get a program. Who do you got left after that? AJ Styles could probably get a shot.
They got to build people, and they haven't been building people. They built Drew.
And
that's it. They built Drew, and they made Roman good.
Do you think maybe Sheamus? Like, there's a story with Sheamus.
Oh,
but he's been mid-card on SmackDown, and he lost the program to Jeff Hardy.
Pee thrown on him.
yeah. I don't. It's very tough.
Evan Wright has a great creative idea. The Hurt Business should invade SmackDown for Apollo Crews. And Wild Boy says, do you think when Gulak re-signed, he knew he'd be in the 24/7 title scene? I think when he re-signed, I mean, for a while, he wasn't re-signed. And he went back to the negotiating table and got what he wanted. I think it was more about the deal that he wanted. But no, I don't think he thought he'd be there. But it's just his job now, so I think he's fine with it. They got to build, Jimmy. And I talk about them not being able to hold their load for 4 draft picks. Well, let me tell you, if you want to become a first round draft pick, you better be able to hold your load. And fortunately, Blue Chew can help you do it. BlueChew.com brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work, but you're not going to be a free agent for long. But if you are, you're going to impress a whole lot of suitors. You're going to go to those meetings, have those negotiations, and you're going to knock it out of the park, if you know what I mean. Blue Chew is prescribed online. It ships straight to your door. You don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. You don't have to wait in line at the doctor's office, which is a great thing to do. That's that negotiating power. You know what I mean? You order those other guys, you got to wait in line at the pharmacy. This is the perk. Give your penis perks, my friends. It's prescribed online, as I mentioned. They work with Blue Chew affiliated physicians to find the active ingredient that works best for you, and it's a chewable, so it's ready whenever you are or whenever you're not. Hit them up at Blue Chew. Let them know you heard about them from us, and let them know you heard about our great deal. How about free? No salary cap on your dong, my friends. Not in this draft, because it's free. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. That is a deal. $5 shipping, hot dog. And if you want a hot dog, use BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL. You heard me say it. BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL. Jimmy, you know, I know a few other things about free agents in this wrestling world. I interviewed Deonna Purrazzo recently, and I sent to you in the Listen You Boy chat. Didn't even know if you know this clip is coming, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to start showing some clips from the interviews again soon.
Camilo actually asked me for permission.
He
said, am I allowed to show this clip from Sean? And I was going to be a pain in the ass and say, nah, scrap it, so that you'd call it and it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But no, we got it.
Well, here's Deonna Purrazzo talking about her Impact deal.
You were, again, very outspoken that you thought you could do more the last couple of years. Based on how you have succeeded in Impact Wrestling, do you feel like vindicated? Do you feel like this is what I told you guys I could do, and now I'm doing it?
A little bit, but I also feel like there's a tremendous amount of pressure on me to perform at that level that I said I could perform at. And with Impact taking this chance on me and you know, all the things that I said, you know, before I really got started in the division, I take this role so seriously, and I'm constantly like getting time in the ring and working on new things and trying to up my cardio and get in better shape and you know, bring my gear to the next level every time, because I want to prove not only myself right, but the people that believed in me and the people that are giving me these opportunities, like, they need to know how heavily it weighs on me and how much I appreciate it. So there's so much pressure that I felt going into Slammiversary. There's 10 times more pressure that I've put on myself going into Bound for Glory now, because not only do I need to retain my championship, but you know, I can't be like a one-hit wonder. I can't be a fluke. I need to like bring it to that same level, then some, the second time around.
And we're back.
Check out that full interview. It's on Fightful.com. It's on YouTube.com/Fightful. We drop those on our podcast feed. She talks about how vindicated she feels about coming over to Impact, her contract status, where she wants to be, and her upcoming Bound for Glory match with Kylie Ray. We haven't done those clips in a while. We didn't do them for a while because we didn't have a producer, but now we're going to start throwing them back your way, guys. So check that out. Lots of interviews up. And I know a lot of you all don't know this, but if you go to FightfulPods.com, we actually have a shoot interviews section that features like all of our interviews that we put up. So if you want to scroll through there and check out a lot of interviews that we've done over the last 4+ years, we've got hundreds, probably 1,000 or so by now. Who knows? Who knows?
Kudos to Mustafa Ali. He's trying hard, Sean. He's trying hard. So on WWE's own Raw preview, this is the preview that they post on their site and they post on their social media. They included this line. They said, quote, "The leader of Retribution, Mustafa Ali, speaks." That was on the Raw preview. Well, it didn't happen because, once again, Vince McMahon flies by the seat of his pants and they're not organized and they don't time the shows out well, and it didn't happen. Mustafa Ali trying his best. Put up media too, Camillo. Somebody on Twitter said to him, "So Ali was supposed to explain his actions on Raw last night, yet we didn't get an explanation. Do you not like it when something is promised and then taken away with no explanation? Funny feeling, isn't it?" He's trying, Sean, you know, to make it look like it was intentional. It was not intentional.
No.
But he's trying his best. Good for you. You're trying. What do they say? Chicken shit, chicken salad, right?
T-Bar tried too, but it just made it look bad. Like he was on a roll for a while, doing some stuff that was good, but I think T-Bar had said, like, just, we were assigned to show up last night by the higher ups, but we didn't because we attack when we want. But that was in a response to, why were they drafted? You should have just let them float and appear when it serves their narrative. Yeah, that person made sense. Him trying to explain that, it undermines what they're doing. Ali's, I think, was a little bit better. T-Bar was on a roll a little bit, but I thought that one was a little bit of a miss.
They're doing what they can. Why do you think Mercedes Martinez was pulled from the group? Do you think because they just need her in NXT?
I think that she wanted to be.
Really? Interesting. And she had enough clout she could get that done, I guess.
Yeah, I think that they. Yeah, I don't know the exact situation. Just I had heard that she might have wanted out of it.
Good
I
for
don't know
her.
I don't know that for sure, though.
Okay. Last week on this podcast, we were joking about Lana. And I think at that point, she'd gone through the table 2, maybe 3 times. And we were joking about how they should do it every week. They should just have Nia Jax put her through the table every week. They did it once again on Raw. I'm not gonna lie, I chuckled and smiled when they did it because I thought she's gonna be like South Park's Kenny, you know?
Yeah.
They could find a way to do it every single week. And when she won the Battle Royal, I had no problem with it, Sean.
Me either.
You know, and there were some people that were really critical of it, and I look at it like, okay, number one, she won it in a fluke battle royal where she threw out Natty from behind, Natty thinking she'd won, and she threw her out from behind. It was completely in a fluke. It's not like she won a title shot because she beat Peyton Royce clean in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean? She fluked a Battle Royal win. I have no problem with it at all. And you know what? I hope they keep putting her through the table every week. They just got to find creative ways to do it. But I hope they keep doing it.
Yeah, so I love that they're doing that. I like the comparison to Kenny. And again, I don't have a problem with this. It's a battle royal. When I would wrestle, there would be so many like turd level indie guys that are like, it doesn't look good if I get eliminated from the battle royal. I'm like, you're getting tossed over the top rope, you dork. Like, get over it. It doesn't hurt anybody to fall over a top rope. It's a part of this happening. And what I think, I kind of wish that she hadn't spent time outside the ring. I hate that they do that. I hate that all the time. But it worked here because also it enhances the credibility of anything can happen in the WWF type of thing. Like, oh, these people can win battle royals. Anybody can win this. That is the luck of the draw, not the luck of the draw, but the crapshoot aspect of this.
Yeah. I agree.
I love it, and I don't care if she wrestles for 10 seconds next week.
I agree.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yep. I'm totally cool with it, too. Here's a question, and this kind of goes along with what you just said about the unpredictability. So Jey Uso gets put into a program with Roman Reigns. I don't think anybody saw that coming. They did it. It worked, and it became an interesting story. Is there anybody on the Raw roster right now, and if you have to, you can go to WWE.com and look at the list. Is there anybody on the Raw roster right now healthy that you can look at?
Stop telling them to go to WWE.com.
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you if you need to look at the roster.
I update the Fightful rosters 3 or 4 times a day, Jimmy.
Oh, you do?
Tell them to go to the resources section at Fightful.com, which has more accurate rosters for AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, WWE, NXT, UK than they do. Better than Wikipedia, which still lists Kane as a free agent. Yeah, Kane. All right, man. That's what he's worried about right now.
Do what Sean just said. Is there anybody on the Raw roster you can look at and think there's a logical and interesting and fresh story ready to be told between that person and Drew McIntyre? And you might think Jinder Mahal, although I don't know if he's still considered a SmackDown guy or where the hell he is.
He's a free agent. He wasn't in the thing.
And he's injured anyway still, I think. Is there anybody ready to go and you can look at them and think that is a logical story, it would be fresh, it would be entertaining for Drew McIntyre on Raw? Anybody?
Not really.
Nobody.
I don't know if he had any interaction with MVP and Impact, but
what about Wade Barrett? Wade Barrett has suggested that he would consider putting on the tights.
Got no interest in that. No, I got no interest in somebody coming back after not wrestling for 4 years to do a title program.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just looking for something fresh and different, but it has to make sense. Like again, the Jey Uso Roman Reigns thing was perfect. You know what I mean?
They'll throw Braun out there.
Yeah, but who gives a shit? Is there anybody unique, different, fresh, and they got some kind of connection with Drew McIntyre? Somehow.
I don't think so.
Nobody.
I don't think so. You might have to look at AJ Styles and say, okay, maybe they could do it, but because it's one of those situations. AJ and Drew have never had a one-on-one match. Singles match that ever aired on TV, ever. Well, you had a triple threat match because I was there for it. Or no, I wasn't. I missed that one, but it was in Lexington. But they've never had a one-on-one match, and they'll do it on Raw, and it'll end in a DQ, and then they'll do it 4 times on TV.
Yep, I was gonna say you'll see it 7 times. So,
and we got somebody saying Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, no, listen to what Jimmy said on the roster. He ain't on the roster.
Not only that, but something different, like we saw Drew and Brock at WrestleMania. Like, give me something different. Like, you know what I really like about the Jey Uso thing? Aside, and I was never a fan of the Usos, and you and I know, we had talked about it. I was never a big fan of the Usos. What I loved about it was not only was there a built-in story because they're family from the time they were kids, so not only was there a built-in story, Jey Uso was like the last guy you would think of as getting a title program because he was a tag team wrestler.
Yeah.
But it fit perfect. Like, it just told a really good story. And I want to see more of that. That's why I'm wondering, is there anybody they could cultivate a story out of, even if it's a tag team wrestler?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
He and Riddle have worked together and evolved, but do you want to go there right now?
No,
Probably don't want to go there.
No. It'd have to be...
Speaking of, Zach Barber says, what are Jimmy's thoughts on WWE bringing back Lars Sullivan only for him to immediately prove he's still a creep?
What did he do to prove he was a creep? I missed that.
He hit on a married woman in her DMs.
You mean recently?
Yeah, like last week.
I didn't know about that. I was going to talk about Lars Sullivan later, and what I was going to say was he basically, in terms of his character on television, reminds me of Braun Strowman with none of the upside. That's basically what he reminds me of. He reminds me of when Braun Strowman first came up, and when he was just annihilating everybody and breaking shit, like we joked about that he was really entertaining about. That's Lars Sullivan, except Lars Sullivan doesn't have the look. Lars Sullivan doesn't have the charisma. Lars Sullivan does not have any of the upside. You're never going to have Lars Sullivan do media. You know what I mean? So he's basically Braun Strowman without any of the upside. And I didn't know about the DM thing. I didn't know about that.
And Aaron Entertainment says, not now, but you could do the Fiend at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Keep the Fiend away from the title.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, it's very easy to predict what WWE will do. So WWE will do Braun Strowman. I think that's a given. WWE will do the Fiend and Drew McIntyre. That's going to happen. Yeah. They'll probably do AJ Styles. I want something fresh and different. I want the Raw equivalent of Roman Reigns, Jey Uso. Doesn't mean I want them to pull up Drew McIntyre's cousin from back in Scotland somewhere or whatever, but that's what I want. I want something like that. And that's why I was even thinking, like, they don't have a lot of tag teams left, but maybe there's even like a tag wrestler that could be entertaining somehow. Somebody different that could fill the spot. Because again, Jey Uso had to keep up. It's one thing that he was Roman's, I don't know if are they blood? I don't know if they're blood.
Yeah,
but they
Roman
grew up.
And Jay are, yeah.
Okay, but the fact they grew up together, they had the story, but the story was only part of it. Jay had to hold up his end of the ring, and I think he did.
I've got it. I've got the perfect name.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Drew McIntyre has history with him. They're former tag team champions.
Let's hear it.
This guy is a main eventer. Cody Rhodes.
That'd be good.
They ain't got anybody. They got nobody.
What about NXT? What about NXT? Is there anybody in NXT?
Let me pull up the roster. We'll read a super chat right now while that happens. Matthew Garrett says, this could be fresh, but the draft should have happened with the board of directors. Much love, Fightful. Thank you very much. Leave us a thumbs up, by the way, guys. Donate a super chat. You'll get your question or statement read on the air. Always encouraging you guys to do that. And swing by tonight's Wednesday Night War show. After AEW and NXT, we got Robert DeFelice, Alex Pawlowski, Warren Hayes doing that. In NXT, I mean, there's always Finn Balor. There's a lot of fresher names. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. There are a lot of fresh names. I think Damian Priest could be really good if they booked him strong because he exudes like cool and does cool moves, but he ain't nowhere near it.
Yeah,
but Adam
he's big
Cole,
too, though. He's big.
Yeah,
because Drew's a big fucking dude.
Yeah, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor are the ones that stand out, but not anytime soon.
I don't really feel it with any of those guys.
And Evan Wright says, give me Drew versus Ivar. Cartwheels, baby. Well, Ivar ain't doing any cartwheels for about a year, I would imagine.
And you know how badly I wanted Ivar Otis? I wanted that match so bad. And they just wouldn't do it. I mean, that'd be this generation's King Kong Bundy, Uncle Elmer. I wanted it. I wanted the scale.
Are way better than either one of King Kong Bundy or Uncle Elmer.
I know that, but I'm just saying I wanted the super heavyweight match. I wanted the weigh-in backstage, and you can have like Otis eating a bucket of chicken on the scale. That's what I wanted. They wouldn't give it to us.
Evan Wright says, Meltzer kind of hinted at Drew working the G1 before his WWE return. That one hurt because I think he would have been amazing on that tour. He would have been amazing on that tour, especially the way that he was coming into himself from a work and a physical standpoint. And Wild Boy says, will Lars be the most unliked wrestler of all time? No, not even close. Not even close. Here's the thing. I don't know if he'll make an impact enough to be that. I think that before all this, before even the mental breakdown, the video emerging, the message board posts emerging, and the DMs emerging, I think he could have been a major player. I just think he'll be a player now.
Do they mean the most disliked in terms of the fan base or in terms of the locker room?
Either one, I don't think he would be the worst.
How was he perceived in the locker room from what you hear?
Well, I hate to be a broken record, but I had heard from a lot of people last year that said that he went out of his way to apologize to them personally for the message board posts. As far as the DMs, I mean, I hate to burst people's bubble in the chat. Nobody in the company gives a shit about who he's messaging.
Right.
As long as it's legal,
Right.
they don't give a shit about that. They don't care one
Nothing
bit.
racist, nothing controversial.
Yeah, I mean, controversial, sure, but I mean, he's buying a yoga program from a woman and hitting on her, but it's like they don't care. They don't care, so I can't make them care or make them not care.
Yeah.
The racial stuff, people cared. They definitely cared.
Of course.
And he apologized for it. The mental breakdown, there were a lot of people that were like, well, maybe he's not cut out for this. And when the video dropped, there's no heat on him, but I did have people that said that they didn't think that Vince would ever look at him the same again.
Right.
But it's one of those situations that it's like, you got plenty of reasons that you could let him go. But if you let him go, there are also plenty of things you could point at and say, oh, did they let him go for this reason? That's not okay to let him go for that reason. It's okay to let him go for that other reason. It's such a wild situation.
Do you think that they would actually build him up as a monster heel and book him with Roman, even though Roman is a heel now? Like, do you think they would actually maybe go down that road? Because they are going to do Braun and Roman, and they're both heel right now.
I think they'll feed him to Roman. Is what I think.
Yeah, okay, but you do think they would actually give him a match with Roman, like a title match with Roman?
Yeah, I think they give him a title match with Roman, especially on like SmackDown or something, or like a December pay-per-view. I think so. Yeah. Also, worth noting, somebody brings up Samoa Joe for Drew McIntyre. They've also never had a one-on-one match.
Joe's not bad. You know, like I almost wouldn't mind seeing Drew do the whole open challenge gimmick. Even though it is for the main title, and there's going to be purists that hate it because it's for the main title. But I loved it when Cena did it because it gave new guys opportunities. Maybe Drew could do it, and 1 week, maybe nobody's accepting, and Samoa Joe's doing commentary, and he's like, the hell with it. You know what I mean? That'd be something different. I want to see something different, you know? Chad Gable should get a shot at Roman Reigns. Why not? He could pull a decent match out of Roman Reigns. You know?
I mean, I don't think it's hard to pull a decent match out of Roman Reigns. I think he's really good, but yeah.
I just want to see something different, and the J thing is cool, and that's why we're all concerned. Now they're going to do it 18 times, you know? So I want to see something different. Natty Neidhart, anybody that ever questions the toughness of a wrestler, and especially a female wrestler, Battle Royal on Monday, Lacey Evans gets a little bit stiff with a punch, knocks out Natty's tooth. Natty finishes the match with the tooth popped out. Good for her, man. She's got that Hart bloodline, you know?
She's tough. It's like those things go hand in hand. Her losing teeth in wrestling, it's like the second or third time it's happened.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I want to ask you about The Rock. I read somewhere.
Hold on, I'll call him real quick.
Yeah, do it.
We'll get the answer.
Yeah. I read somewhere, it might have been in the UK Metro, that his net worth was being reported at over $200 million US, right? And he's got his tequila, and obviously his goal is to sell that company. Anybody that, I'm sure people understand business, that's his goal, is he wants to build it and sell it and get hundreds of millions of dollars for it. Vince McMahon, last I looked, is worth like $1.6 billion. Last I looked. The Rock now has like 200 million social media followers. Do you think at some point, eventually, Rock's net worth might actually combat Vince's? Eventually? Because that guy, he's like Midas. Like everything he touches turns to gold, it seems.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Could get 500. He might get 500 mil for that tequila. Ryan Reynolds got like 300 for the gin.
Good for Ryan Reynolds.
Well, he didn't own the whole thing. Ryan Reynolds had bought in. Like it had previous ownership and he bought in. But Ryan Reynolds has his own marketing company. In case people aren't familiar, he's got a marketing company, and Ryan Reynolds is smart. He's not an idiot. And so he uses his own brand in order to promote the shit that he owns through his marketing company, and it's freaking awesome. And so he did the one with the guy from Virgin. What's the guy's name from Virgin?
I know who you're talking about.
Branson?
Branson, yeah.
Did you see the thing Ryan Reynolds did with Branson?
Yes.
When Jin was going to be on the Virgin flights, and Ryan Reynolds was like, I'm here to announce my new partner, Richard Branson. Branson's like, okay, you're not my partner. We're just going to be selling your gin on our planes. He's like, anyway, yeah, I'm here with my partner, Richard Branson. Like, he's really good, you know?
Yeah.
And
I think he's like the funniest actor in
He
Hollywood
is,
ever.
and he needs to embrace the comedy and forget about the action stuff because comedy is where he's
Oh
good.
God, have you ever seen the movie Buried?
No,
It was him. Like the whole movie is him overseas, like in a war zone, and he was a truck driver, and he got buried in a box, like a foot or two underground, with a cell phone. Basically, they were using him for ransom. And I remember, I can't remember what late night show it was on, but he brought a clipping from a newspaper review out, and it was from years before, and it said Ryan Reynolds couldn't act his way out of a box, and he said, "Come to the theater and find out."
really?
And I thought
Now,
that was the funniest thing.
Was he doing comedy in that movie?
No, not at all.
No, I was gonna
But
say.
it's a lot like Jim Carrey, where even if he's promoting a serious movie, he's going to be funny in promoting it. I think it's great. Also, he can do that Deadpool role until he's 60 if he wants.
Did you hear about how we got Rick Moranis out of retirement?
No.
So I'm sorry, I'm a fan of Ryan Reynolds, and so I could talk about him for a while. I think he's hilarious.
Me too. We'll do a Ryan Reynolds podcast.
I think he's very talented as a comedy actor. I really wish he would just embrace it. And like you said, if he can do Deadpool where you can use some of the physicality too, that's fine. With all due respect to him, he's not intimidating. Even though I know he's a big guy and everything, he's not intimidating. He's funny. So he's got a mobile brand called Mint Mobile. And I think it's only in the US right now. I heard he's trying to get it into Canada. And he wanted to do a viral video, essentially commercial for Mint Mobile, just like he did for the gin. And he was trying to come up with ways that it would get viral attention. So he reached out to Rick Moranis. And if anyone doesn't know Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters and stuff, Rick Moranis has been retired for like 20 years because his wife passed from cancer. And he wanted to retire and raise his kids actually here in Toronto. Rick Moranis spent the last 20 years living in Toronto. So Ryan Reynolds reaches out to Rick Moranis because stories had come out saying that Moranis was ready to come out of retirement because the kids are grown now.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds reaches out to him about, hey, I want to do this thing for this mobile company. He thinks he's got no shot because Moranis is very picky. Like, he doesn't need the money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And Ryan Reynolds thinks he's got no shot. And Rick Moranis reads the pitch and he's like, all right, I'll do it. And Reynolds was just floored. And all they did, you can find it on the internet, is Ryan Reynolds, he just comes out as Rick Moranis. And he's like, what do you want me to do? You just want me to look here and, hey, Mint Mobile. And that was the spot.
Yeah.
So.
And who doesn't love Rick Moranis? Yeah, I actually,
great.
That clip popped up in my recommended videos a while back. I saw that, and that's very cool. Also, to speak to your point about him being a comedic actor, even in Amityville Horror, my favorite line was, "Since when did you get so fucking stupid?"
I'm a big fan of Waiting. Waiting is an awesome movie.
Okay, I
love that movie.
We watched that last week, and there's a lot of it that does not hold up. It's very funny, but there's a lot that doesn't hold up.
Like, give me an example. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Just watch it again.
Oh, really?
And you will watch it and you'll go, oh, they said that. Oh, they said that. Okay, they said that.
Have you ever seen any of the outtakes?
Oh, of course. Andy Milonakis' rapping holds up very well.
See, I haven't seen it in a while, so I have to go back and watch.
I'm telling you, rewatch it. We watched it literally 2 weeks ago, and yeah.
Did you see the outtake with that? Who's that famous Hispanic actor that's in it? He plays one of the chefs.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I forget his name. So he's like a very like well-known, respected actor. He's got a massive resume.
Luis Guzman.
Yes, Luis Guzman. Yeah, he's got a phenomenal resume. He's done all kinds of shit. So they did this thing. There was a scene where they were in the bathroom, and all of the actors were gathered because in the scene, one of the guys has a problem urinating in a urinal.
Yeah.
Because he's got like a mental block. So he's having a dream where his coworkers are all cheering him on.
Cheering him on.
Yeah. So there is an outtake
fucking
where
piss, man.
Yeah. There was an outtake where Guzman told the director, when everybody's gathered in the bathroom, he told the director, "This is stupid. I'm not doing it." And the directors, because Guzman again was very well respected, and they felt very lucky to get him for the role, and they're kind of politely pleading with him, and it almost be like somebody in WWE pleading with Dwayne Johnson to do something. It's almost like that. So they're like, Mr. Guzman, I mean, please, you saw this in the script. I mean, you only have one line. It's like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not doing it. And all the other actors who aren't in on it, they're all standing here like this.
Yeah.
And no one wants to say anything. And it turned out he was just fucking with them.
I mean, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
He was just messing with them.
I remember that guy in Dumb and Dumber 2. Like,
yeah,
he's
no.
not
He had no problem with it. He was just messing with them. And they bought a hook, line, and sinker, yeah.
Queen Hannah says, a big thing for Ryan Reynolds is his facial expressions. He can say nothing and crack me up with just his face.
He's really
He's
good.
great.
Yes,
and quite
he is.
frankly, our viewership has increased significantly during the show since we talked about Ryan Reynolds.
Good. We're going to take this clip and we're going to tweet it out to him and see if he'll say anything. You know, another good Ryan Reynolds movie, Just Friends. I've seen it many times.
We got a super
Love
chat.
that movie.
Ryan Reynolds in Just Friends has the best
Great.
end credits.
Great.
Ryan in a fat suit singing Boys to Men. We actually just added that to our annual like Christmas movie watch list. Like,
Oh, really?
I pulled Office Christmas Party from it.
Yeah.
I love Jason Bateman, but I had to pull that one, too corny, and we added Just Friends.
Great movie.
Also, Chris Klein as Dusty Dinkelman was hilarious in that movie.
He's okay, but I'm not a huge Chris Klein fan. You know who I liked in
either.
that movie?
Who?
Anna Faris was great in that
didn't.
movie.
I didn't.
You didn't like Anna Faris in that movie?
I think she plays the same role in every movie.
I don't think so. I thought she was funny in that movie. I liked her in that movie. I thought she was good. You're not thinking about the other girl, are you?
No, Amy Smart. I know who
Yeah,
she is.
yeah.
Speaking of, we watched Road Trip again last week.
Oh
with
yeah,
Amy
that's
Smart
yeah.
And here's the funny thing: we were expecting Tom Green's humor to not hold up, and it definitely still held up. It was definitely.
He's
oh,
okay. He's
I'm
okay.
telling you, rewatch it. It's so like out of left field that it works.
So I should tell you. So I went to university in Ottawa, Canada, and Tom Green is from Ottawa, Canada, and he got his start on community TV locally. When I was going to school, he was doing his local television show at that time.
Yeah.
And so we used to sit around in the dorm or whatever, and you'd flip it on. It was just like community television. And even back then, I thought, this guy's stupid. You know, and then he went on. He was like a podcast pioneer. Tom Green was like one of the first guys to ever do the podcasting. You know, I think he might have been pre-Rogen even. Like he was one of the first guys to do it.
We can end this show on this. One of my favorite lines on TV ever. Are you familiar with the Bum Bum song?
No, is that Tom Green?
That was Tom Green.
No,
and he got it to #1 on TRL. And it was just about him putting his ass on things. And one of the lines was, my bum is on the cheese, my bum is on the cheese. If I get lucky, I'll get a disease. And he did a cancer special that highlighted him getting testicular cancer and him educating MTV viewers about testicular cancer and to get checked. And they played that clip to intro it. And he goes, well, I got lucky. And, yeah, that was actually a very educational show. I really enjoyed it. And Dante V ends us by saying Anna Faris and Scary Movie Classic.
I haven't seen it in too long. I haven't seen that in too long.
How did we just jump to 1,269 current viewers?
They want to. I think you and I might need to do a podcast about this stuff. I will say one Tom Green thing, and I'm not a massive Tom Green fan. Stealing Harvard is a good movie. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, and I'm going to be quite honest with you, Jimmy. We're not doing the list goes on right now. I'm making a decision right now. We legitimately have 1,400 live viewers right now.
They want to talk about Ryan Reynolds and Tom Green. That's what they want us to talk about.
I don't know why it's climbing. I don't have any answer, but we're gonna ride this wave. And
Really? I can't do this too long. I got stuff to do. But if you haven't seen Stealing Harvard, that's the one movie where Tom Green is great in that movie. He's really good in that movie.
So, I actually watched that last year as well.
That was a good one. Remember when they're so if you've never seen this movie, so the one guy he promises his niece that he's going to pay for her to go to Harvard, thinking she's never going to get in, right? Yeah. He's thinking she's never getting in. Then she gets in. So now she wants a tuition and he's screwed. So they're coming up with ways to get the money. And one idea they had was, let's rob this convenience store and get the money. Well, Tom Green's his friend, so Tom Green's going to do it with him.
Of course.
They put on masks, and now they kind of got to come up with fake names because they don't want to use their real name. So Tom Green wants to use the name of a guy who I guess he went to summer camp with this guy, and this guy got like 2 girls pregnant.
Yes.
So in Tom Green's mind, that makes him a legend. So he wants to use his name. But when they go in, the kid behind the counter's got a shotgun that they didn't expect. Stealing Harvard's a good movie. Gotta check it out.
We've got people in the chat pointing out my shirt. Did you notice my shirt, Jimmy?
I noticed it was backwards because you flip your shot. Vanilla Ice. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, it's a Vanilla Ice Ninja Turtles shirt as we creep up over 1,700 viewers, Jimmy.
There's so many obscure comedies that I could recommend to people that are really good. What's the one with Jonah Hill where they create their own school?
Oh, Accepted.
Accepted.
That one's
That's
not as obscure.
Is it
Although
not? I thought it was an obscure movie.
No, it was widely released. And I'm just sitting there wondering, have they not heard of Community College?
yeah.
What happened here?
The mascot was called the Shit Sandwiches.
Yeah. That was a very good one. I enjoyed that one.
That was one of Jonah Hill's first movies, I think. Like as far as being a lead.
Do you know what his first was?
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yes.
I remember.
Exactly.
I remember. He congratulated Steve Carell for getting the date. Yes. I love
That-
40-Year-Old Virgin.
And he was buying those shoes.
Yes.
But that movie, like, God, it didn't launch a ton of people, but it had so many people that you don't even realize. Like Elizabeth Banks before she was in The Hunger Games.
Yeah. Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah,
Yep.
of course. Kevin Hart was in that movie.
That's
and a bit
right.
part
That's
in-
right.
in
That's
there.
right.
That was
Who was the other guy? The black guy with the shaved head. Who was that guy?
Romany Malco. He was so funny.
He
in that.
was amazing in that movie. And the only other thing I saw him in was the Mike Myers one that was really stupid. The Guru, Love Guru.
Yes, I thought he was so funny, and
He
just
was
didn't-
great in that. How come he couldn't translate that into a bunch of comedy?
I don't know. I know he's doing A Million Little Things, which is a TV show on ABC now, and Mad Dogs. But here's a funny one. There was a guy. It was, it was one of the fellas that would argue, the 2 Indian fellas in
Yes, the old one or the young one?
the young one. Did you hear what happened?
No.
He tried to murder his girlfriend or his wife. He's in prison.
What?
Bro.
Really?
He's in prison, bro.
Really?
Big time.
The old
Also-
guy was hilarious with the sexual profanity. He was awesome.
Oh my God,
It was great.
amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Also, Mindy Kaling was in that movie, and how about this
That's right.
one? Stormy Daniels was in that movie.
Was she one of the porn stars in his dream?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Oh, that movie's. Diamond Dallas Page's ex-wife Kimberly was in that movie.
Kimberly was in there. Yep,
That's
as
right.
a speed dater. I
That's
remember
right.
that.
That's right. Yeah.
Did you
That's a good
ever
movie.
notice Seth Rogen's cameo in Anchorman?
The first Anchorman?
Yes, he was filming the cat fashion show.
Oh yes. Yeah, he's the cameraman. Yeah.
And he was like, "This is such good shit."
Yes. You remember I told you about The Boys, the show on Amazon?
I'm gonna start watching that like this weekend.
So Rogen is one of the producers, and because he's one of the producers, there have been a few episodes where he plays himself getting interviewed.
yeah.
So check out The Boys.
I actually watched a video recently. Okay. To wrap us up here, because the numbers are finally declining.
Yeah, and I got stuff to do. I'm sorry, people,
To
but I do.
me, the most underrated comedy of maybe the last 13, 14 years is one that I thought was going to suck. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
I have not seen that.
It is worth you watching,
Is
especially
it?
if you ever watched Walk the Line, because it's enough parody. Like, it's like Dewey Cox and his brother are walking around. And I mean, you know how those movies like Walk the Line are. It's like all based on tragedy and terrible stuff. Him and his brother are walking around. His brother goes, "Ain't nothing terrible going to happen today, Dewey. It's a beautiful day." And then one gets cut in half by a machete. It's amazing.
Awesome.
So no list goes on today as we stayed a little extra for today because we had crazy viewership coming in. Fightful.com, FightfulSelect.com. I got a Q&A dropping Thursday with over an hour worth of what?
So one of the super chats at the start of the show asked about Joey Ryan. And so out of respect, we should answer that. I think nothing's going to come out of the lawsuits. I think it's a desperation move because I think he knows his wrestling career is done. And it's a desperation move on his part because with all due respect to Joey Ryan, he's probably not in a very good situation. Mm-hmm. But there is zero chance that he is going to get $10 million from anybody. It's a frivolous suit. And along those same lines, I will say this. Sean and I spoke off the air about Candy Cartwright's lawsuit. And when the lawsuit first came out, Sean sent it to me, like just to look at the actual documents. And the first thing I said to Sean was she hired an ambulance chaser. So she hired a personal injury lawyer. And the reason that you hire a lawyer like that is because they work on a contingency basis. What that means is you don't have to pay them up front. Whatever they collect in a settlement, they usually get a high percentage, like 40%. But you don't pay them up front, and that's why people like Candy Cartwright, with all due respect to her, hire that type of a lawyer.
Sure.
She has 0% chance of getting a settlement out of WWE using an ambulance chaser, 0% chance, and he is doing it because he looks at it as potential payday. No chance.
Last super chat, Dante V says, Ryan Reynolds in The Voices, where he's the main character and does the voices, the dog and cat. Amazing. I need to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Slap a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe. Tap that bell for notifications. We have tons of interviews, tons of news, and we have the Wednesday Night War podcast tonight. Thank you, guys. Until next time, we're out.
Subscribe to Fightful on YouTube for the latest exclusive podcasts, interviews, and news across boxing, MMA, and pro wrestling.